just need to play you.
Oh no, dreams don't last forever, even if we wish they did. A fairy tale ending happily ever after. Sometimes a slipper does.
Whew, okay. I wish this was tequila. It's not. I am here, standing humbly before you and wondering, how in the heck did I get here? A 16-year-old me, who may have been slightly less jaded by the happenings in the world, would say, because this is where you were meant to be. I remember that 16-year-old girl, and I remember that moment with absolute clarity when I was sitting in the audience listening to my very first motivational speaker. And while I may not remember the message of that speaker, I do remember the feeling of having somebody so clearly define out loud the voices in my heart. And I remember thinking that is what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. Let's fast forward 3 decades. A lifetime of happenings, and that thought had long since been forgotten. I was in a room in California surrounded by 200 women from around the world. 200 women being inspired by one inspirational soul who had the courage to stand up and say, I see your light. It is shining there, calling to you. And thank you for being here and recognizing that. Right now, in this moment, in this room, Canadian women, I wish to say to each of you, I see your light. I see it. It's there. And no matter your past, your journey, your experiences, your light is there, as it always has been. And I am encouraging you to let it shine bright. The message I bring you today is one that is being reinforced in media and literature. It is one of being enough, of letting yourself breathe, of loving yourself enough to let all of the yuck go, of embracing the darkness, of feeling who you are in this universe and celebrating every aspect of your unique humanness. It is one of rising up. I come to you today with a message of hope. This message is especially important to me because 14 years ago, I lost mine. I was a tiny little girl born much too early to very young parents. My upbringing was not one out of the ordinary for that particular generation and era. I had hard-working parents who had decided early on in life to separate, but blessed me with the most incredible step-parents and beautiful siblings. The elephant in the room I had growing up was living with a mother who suffers from mental illness. Something that only now, 40 years later, is recognized without shame. Now is when our voices can be louder than our hurt. Now is where we can take all that we are learning and use it as a fireball to throw against those raging inner voices and tell them to sit the hell down and be quiet. You know those voices I'm talking about. I had them this morning, this afternoon, all day today, taunting me and teasing me, trying to stop me from being on this stage today. But nothing was going to stop me from being here today. My relationship with my mother is one that I treasure deeply. I feel her dark days to the depths of my soul, and I always hope that in some way my light will shine bright enough to bring her back to those that love her most. The wise age of 17, I was on my own, embarking on a new adventure in a new land of higher education. I see that young girl right now, and I marvel at her bravery and her tenacity. Even then, I knew she was a fighter. Among those that some would consider the physically broken is where I found comfort and belonging and a place of strength. Those that the limbs and bodies and voices don't work like the rest of us. Those that some would consider differently abled. I found that I had an innate ability to stop and watch and observe. I learned to listen for and explore different nuances and triggers, and help those whose voices may have otherwise been forgotten to rise up. I held children in my arms for hours as I sang Puff the Magic Dragon and rocked. Because for some reason, the sound of that song and the movement of my rocking was the only thing that would soothe their crying hearts for a time. I learned from them, and I loved them. The value of the human spirit. I needed a place wherein I can control the environment of little people, where their worlds would be commanded by my commitment and passion to adding light and sunshine to each of their days. A woman that I loved dearly saw within me something when she handed me my first teaching contract 18 years ago, something that I am only just recognizing now today. I thought I had died and gone to heaven. 13 little souls whose shrieks of delight at being at school could be heard outside each morning as the bus pulled up. Those years nearly killed me. The facing each day of the struggles of humankind, the gentleness and the rage, the heartache and the celebration, the mastering of balance while eking out the complexity of being a new teacher, building a foundation for my craft. And I had lost my grandmother. A woman whose generosity, strength, and beauty continue to inspire me to this day. In her arms was a place that I belonged no matter what. My place was beside her. And now her place resides within my heart and fighting spirit. Around this time, I met a man. And for the first time in a long time, there was someone there taking care of me. His voice was soothing, and he has the capacity to change your life in an instant if needed. This man and I began a journey which forever changed the face of who I am. Early on in our relationship, we were surprised with the news that we were expecting. How did that happen? We did not live in the same demographic area and were busy in our professional lives, but we embraced this news. The pregnancy was not easy and was laced with worry and doom predictions. You can imagine my surprise with my stature when I learned that we were carrying not one, but 2 identical twin girls within me. I didn't know how that was possibly going to work. When the ultrasound tech held up 2 fingers, I remember saying, 2 what? 2 arms? 2 legs? 2 babies! My sister heard me screaming from the waiting room. I had no idea how to be pregnant since I'd never been, and I thought that somehow the extreme exhaustion and manic emotion was a flaw in my character makeup. Each day was a new challenge of just getting out of bed in the morning, which was especially taxing on someone who had led a very busy and active lifestyle. A sunny day in May arrived. I was just over 6 months along, and a good friend accompanied me to a regular ultrasound. The ultrasound was not good, and I was thrust into a world that I had no idea had existed until that moment. My girls were sick. My faith, baby A, and my hope, baby B. Friends and family poured into my hospital room, and my walls were adorned with the well wishes of hundreds of students. Doctors milled outside in hushed tones, and I was not allowed to stand unless going to the washroom. I talked with and sang to my girls, relentlessly believing that if they heard the sound of my voice, they would be soothed and they would not leave me. I could feel them moving and kicking. I knew their spirits even then. A morning came wherein the ultrasound tech put down her tools before giving me an update on hope. The scream that emitted from me was not something of human nature. My hope had left. Somewhere I had let down my guard, and she had quietly gotten away. And now my faith, who still resided within my body, was wondering where the sound of her sister's heartbeat went and why she was no longer playing. I screamed and I begged, I pleaded and cursed. I left my body and in the courtyard begged my daddy to take all of the pain away. Years later, Faith would ask me in her 3-year-old voice if she hugged and kissed her sister before the angels came to take her away. 9 days. For 9 days, I fought for Faith to live within me. For 9 days, the nurses held my back, hands rubbed my back. Friends and family were encouraged to be with me at all hours. Faith joined the world 9 days later. My little fighter came in at a whopping 3 pounds and spent 8 terrifying weeks in the NICU. On several occasions, we were told that we would lose her, or if she was to survive, the impact on her neurological function would be huge. This little beauty rose to that challenge, as she has risen to every other challenge on her nearly 15 years of life on this earth. The song I played for you today when I got onto the stage, that's her song. She wrote it. Soon to be released to the world as a gift. Her voice, her story. I have 2 more children, a middle child who is so full of life and love and incredible energy that she blows my mind. Seriously, the middle child syndrome. She has a laugh that starts from way beneath her toes and erupts out of her like a bursting sun. She reminds me every moment to bask in the sparkle, Mummy. Because what we have right now is this moment. Yesterday is forgotten. Do not stay there in the what ifs and the should haves and the could haves. If you stay there, you will only darken and sadden your heart. Tomorrow, it's not promised. There are no guarantees. We have no idea what is to come, but right now in this moment we can say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the energy and the love and the light. And oh, God, thank you for the laughter. My boy, my surprise love of my life. My boy has taught me all about the love of a boy. The toxic combination of gentle and tumble, the laughter and the insanely silly and somewhat obnoxious. He has taught me how deserving I am to be loved, and that I truly am a superhero in my magic sparkle cape and invisible sparkle cape. I am his mummy. And that means I am capable of amazing and beautiful things. 4 years ago, my family was displaced from our home. This came shortly after the time my husband announced that he surprisingly wanted a separation. A heavy rainfall and a backup of sewer had left our home a biohazard. It took a year to rebuild. A year of living with my in-laws. Let that just sink in for a minute. And guiding my children each day to a life filled with blessings and strength, as well as trying to save my marriage. Oh, I was homesick for my home, my place of comfort and belonging. On that journey is where I traveled to California to a conference of my soul healing, and I hired a personal trainer for my body healing, and I began holding retreats of blessedness for my own prairie girls. Right now, I want you to do something, and we only have a minute. I'm going to ask you to stand, and without saying a word, I want you to clasp hands with someone beside you. I want you to then hug them heart to heart, and I want you to hold on for as long as you need. Then move on to the next person. You're going to allow your eyes to greet one another and your souls to recognize within each other what you need. Are you ready? Stand. You are not saying a word. Go. Connect hands and hug. Good. Beautiful. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes! Isn't that amazing? Ha! The power of human connectedness. Ha! I encourage you to hug daily and hug often. Reach out and connect with others on this journey. Lately, I have been growing my hope. Each morning it begins by rising with intention and sending out messages of love to those I love in the universe and in the pursuit of setting in motion an idea for the day, to set boundaries and parameters for how we might carry ourselves. Each day, as dark as it may seem, I choose to rise up. To rise up and face the good, the bad, and the ugly. To recognize the lessons I am both embracing and still learning from. To say hello to the darkness and welcome it to my table. Asking it to teach me and respectfully sending it on its way. I make a conscious choice every single day, as I have for the last 4 years. I practice gratitude in everything for everything. And the more open I am to living an abundant life, the more abundance comes to me. I have been a single mom for 10 months. A single, working, full-time mom on a mission. Woo! Some days the threat of falling on my knees from exhaustion with the wish that there was someone else around to take out the frickin' garbage threatens to overtake me. Oh! I have learned in the last while that even though I am growing my capacity for giving love and positive intention, the battered down woman inside of me, she's not so good at receiving it. I met someone online. Can we say that out loud? Can you believe that? What is this online world anyway? Whoa. Initially, it served as a means of distraction and humor in my days, and one day, one person whose eyes I seemed to recognize from another life were staring back at me. And it seemed from that moment on, the sole reason he's been put in my life was just to love me, without reason, without making any sense whatsoever. He just wants to love me. And the first time I heard him say that, it sent me into a complete fight or flight response. Yeah, I had not heard those words from a partner in so long that I had somehow managed to turn that part of my soul off. And I am standing in front of you today telling you in no uncertain terms that not only are you capable of great love, you are deserving of it. And man alive, does it not feel freaking amazing? Yes! Wow. I am growing hope. I am rising up. Each day, I have a secret weapon. Anybody know what these are? Woo! They're green and about 1/4 pound each. They rely on me using every ounce of my superhuman power and resistance to bring out my freaking inner rock star. I am a trained Pound Pro and recently attended the very first Canadian Amplify Pound Pro training in Vancouver. I was mind blown. Each morning, my tiny classroom of beautiful little people begin their day with welcoming one another, an I am statement and pounding. I pound with everybody and I pound with everyone, everywhere. And I don't care how that sounds. Because these things are true, my friends. Number one, we must be well rested. Sleep must be protected at all costs. We must allow our minds and bodies the opportunity to escape and rejuvenate for a short while. Number two, you must practice gratitude every single day. for all of the blessings in your life, for that then these will come to the forefront, and there will be more blessings filling your bucket. Number 3, take care of your body. Exercise and eat well. Get that water and healthy eating into you. Move your body, find your passion, and make it happen. And number 4, in all things, be kind. When we can act from a place of love, when we can set that as our main intention, then no harm can come. Rise up, warrior woman. You've got this. Thank you.